Hello! I have a bunch of books that I got for Christmas that I now need to show you guys my library tour. I can't take them off my desk until I show you. So the first one actually came today. History of the Bible, the book and its faiths. It goes over how the Bible was actively constructed over time and how it's related to different groups of people. I'm super stoked to actually read this book. This should be a fun read. The next one, The History of Christianity. First and foremost, this book was like $5, super cheap, and it's like 1,200 pages. But also, History of Christianity, this could be really fun. It's really interesting to read. Not that I'm Christian, but I still want to read this. So I'm super stoked to read that book as well. And then I figured, because this was right underneath the History of Christianity, History of Judaism. So I'll read this as well. Not that I have any interest in that, but I mean, the subject seems cool. Now, a lot of you guys complained that I got a really bad book on the history of Afghanistan. So you might be aware, I'm doing this thing where I do like one general or modern history book of a country, going alphabetical. So Afghanistan's up first. And I got a fucking tome of a book. Oh, can I swear? I don't know, doesn't matter. I got a tome of a book. This is huge. I didn't realize it was going to be this big, so I'll do that. Another book I got for Christmas is The Dream of Reason. I actually believe this is a history of philosophy kind of book, but I don't think of it, okay, so Pythagoras. I'm not so much sure about the books that I got here because most of them were Christmas gifts, right? Opening Pandora's book, yeah, history of philosophy book. That should be good. Guide to Financial Markets, The Economist. Someone got this to me because I'm really into stocks lately. And the book might be simple, but what I like about it is that it is simple as well. So it's always good to go over the fundamentals. I actually am going to make a video explaining how this year I'm going to go over the fundamentals of finance and math. And then next year I'll go over the advanced stuff. Not because they're particularly new, but because I want to go back over the fundamentals. I need to revisit chemistry as well. I forget a lot about basic chemistry. The Manual of Ideas, the proven framework for finding the best value investments. So I really like value investing, and this book is a highly recommended book for value investing. And so this was actually given to me as a gift as well. I was going to buy it on my own, but someone gave it to me as a gift. So that's actually terrific. Yeah, this is great. John Stuart Mill on Liberty and Utilitarianism. I thought I had Mill, and it turns out I didn't. I guess I've just I know I have Locke, and I have some other philosophers, but I don't have Mill. So I guess I'm glad I got this because I didn't want to read Mill. His principles of economy, political economy, the way he writes is really like soothing to me. I love his writing style, especially in that book. So I'll be excited to read this as well. Why the Germans do it better. So a German person gave this to me as a joke for a book, but to be honest, all the stocks in the West right now are basically down for me, besides like a few here and there, like Coca-Cola's up, right? But my German stocks are up, like especially BMW. BMW's up for me, so yeah, this will be great. France, A History from Gaul to De Gaulle. So obviously, again, going over this idea that I'm going to do each country one modern history book. That's why I got this book as a gift. I know nothing about it, but I did see it in my Amazon cart before, and so I was going to buy this book on my own anyways. Another good Christmas gift. Korea's Place in the Sun. The person who gifted me this book actually made the joke that like Korea's Place in the Sun referring to Japan. It'd be really funny as like a title. But yeah, modern history book of Korea. Korea is quite a ways down the list, so I'll probably have to get a supplementary book by the time I get to Korea. But yeah, this will be a good book for me as well. Fishing for Fools, The Economics of Manipulation and Deception. I love Robert J. Schiller. I've never read George Akerlof. I haven't read him yet. But basically the idea of this book is to take that concept that markets are rational and show how markets can actually lead people through rationality to engage in bad things. So maybe you could say, for example, I don't know, getting loans on real estate. Maybe, yeah, there's like a really, really good incentive to get a loan, like a mortgage, but for whatever reason, it's bad for the economy. You can think of like the 2008 financial crisis. Was the market rational? Yes, because people were making money off of it, and it was maximizing profit, but it led to a bad outcome. And that's kind of what the premise of this book is. That rational things can be bad, including markets. The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. This is like a interview he did, and I didn't know about this book. I have all of his like other like mythology books, like Oriental mythology, primitive mythology, etc. So I think I'll read this as like an introduction to those books before I go into those books. But this will be fun to read as well, especially because he talks a lot about Jung, and I'm currently going through Jung. Lost in Thought: The Hidden Pleasures of an Intellectual Life. I love books like this. They seem just like idiosyncratic and a bit esoteric. I'm really excited to read this. Yeah. Number of the Heavens. So the person who got me this book was taking a guess, and to be honest, I'm also kind of, because I'm not really that big into physics. I do want to go back into physics after I do chemistry and molecular biology. I'll go into physics. My physics is terrible, and so I have some books that I'm going to go over and learn physics. But so this might be a good book. To be honest, it reads like a good book, and the concept is kind of cool. So we'll see how that goes. Money: A 5,000-year history of 5,000 years of debt and power. So I think this book is not quite like the book Debt. I do think he talks about some anthropology, but I think he's more focused on the financial systems rather than like the behavior. So it's a bit of a different book than the Debt book that many people are familiar with, and that's in the stack as well. You'll see it. So I bought this book myself, Love's Executioner. I kind of wanted to read it this December, because I like book like when psychotherapists write books about their interviews and their kind of conceptualizations of the dynamics. I like books like that, and that's kind of what that is. Cracked: Why Psychiatry is Doing More Harm Than Good. I've heard things about this book, and I finally decided to buy it. Very interesting arguments in here. We'll see how it goes. In the same vein, I got this book for myself as well. Richard P. Bentel, Doctoring the Mind: Why Psychiatric Treatments Fail. That's a very interesting discussion to have. So I'll read this as well. I have a whole stack of mental health books that I'm going to go through. Africa's Odious Debts: How Foreign Loans and Capital Flight Bled a Continent. This topic is a very, very interesting topic. Most of the African historians that I've read, which is about like 3, have talked a lot about this problem. And so I'm excited to get a more in-depth look at this problem. Because usually when people cover it, they just talk about like the macroeconomics of it. I'm hoping this goes a little bit beneath the macroeconomics. Maybe even specific people who are moving money out of the country. So I made a post about this when I was in a mainstream bookstore, like a bookstore that sells popular books. I couldn't find any books, and I decided, well, I'm going to get all the Malcolm Gladwells. Because even though I don't really agree with Gladwell and everything, I want to leave the store with some books, okay? And they're not that long. So David and Goliath, Underdog, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants. I actually am missing one of Gladwell's books. Someone pointed this out to me. What the Dog Saw and Other Adventures. I actually don't know what this is about. Again, I just picked it up because it was Gladwell. Talking to Strangers. Again, I don't really know what this is about. It was Gladwell, picked it up. Blink. I do know what this is about. One of my cognitive science professors talked about this book. Winners Take All. Oh, this is actually very fun. This is a funny little book. This book is about like how rich people will claim to be like doing pro-social things when in reality they're not. This is really fun. Or not good things, but just changing the world. It's a really funny book. Young Money: The Inside Hidden World of Wall Street's Post-Crash Recruits. So this is just basically, yeah, it's actually a good subheader. how has Wall Street dealt with young people, especially quants, after the 2008 financial crash, in terms of like hiring. So the next one is The Great Divergence, China, Europe, and the Making of the Modern World Economy. This I've heard good things about and I've heard bad things about. I guess people don't agree with the take, but I definitely want to read it because it's an interesting subject. So, independent of whether you agree with this guy or this woman or not, I'm still gonna read it. Debt, the First 5,000 Years. Now, this is a book that everybody loves. This is the other debt book I have. And I believe this book is more anthropologically focused. So it's actually going to talk about behaviors and people and so on and so forth. Whereas the other one was more focused on the financial models. That was my, at least in first impressions. I could be wrong. So I'll be excited to read this. And then the last book that I got was The Disordered Mind, What Unusual Brains Tell Us About Ourselves, Eric R. Kandel. Haven't read this yet, obviously, but people have cited it. I love that Kandel goes and like makes all of his books this textbook paper quality. It's kind of funny. Yeah, this will be a super exciting read as well. So those are the books I got for Christmas. I got like 45 books this December, something really big. Bit of a splurge, eh? But with that being said, I will try and make my next video to be 2023 reading goals. Bye bye.